Hey guys, Sarah here with Signals Everywhere. Today I wanted to show you how to use SDRAngel to both transmit and receive a digital amateur television signal using DVB-S over the amateur radio bands with an RTL SDR as the receiver and a hack RF as the transmitter. Let's go ahead and set up the receiver first. If we come over to these buttons in the upper left hand corner, you'll see if we hover over them, they'll tell us what each button is for. In our case, we want to add a receive device. And from our drop down, we're going to select the RTL SDR and press OK. And you'll see that we now have a device window and our FFT window. It's a lot different from other applications you're likely familiar with, like SDR++ or SDR Sharp. So it's a little bit cumbersome, but it's pretty easy to figure out once you have a feeling for where everything is. So let me give you a quick rundown here. In our device window, we have our frequency displayed in kilohertz, so we're currently at 435 megahertz. We have our sample rate, which is currently set to 1.024 thousand samples per second. And then we have our decimation. I'm not going to explain decimation factor. All I'm going to tell you is to put it on 1 or 2, and you're going to save yourself a lot of big headaches with this application. Just set it to 1 or 2, and you should be fine. And then finally, we want to make sure that we turn up our gain a little bit, because obviously if you have no gain, you're not going to hear anything on your receiver. So that's a big thing to look out for. A lot of people tend to forget to set their gain in the application, and if you do that, you're not going to be able to hear anything. So make sure you turn up your gain a little bit. And if we press the play button here, you'll see that the FFT lights up for us and seems to be working as it should. Now you'll notice, however, there's no sound, there's no anything coming out of this, and that's because everything is set up very different in SDRAngel. If we come over to our device here, you'll see that we have this little star button, and it says add channels when we hover over top of it, and this is going to be how you do demodulation and modulation within the application. So if we click on the Add Channels button, you'll see we have a drop-down list of many different demodulators, and for today's video, we're going to be using the DATV demodulator. Go ahead and select that, and then we'll press Apply. And for whatever reason, the Channels menu doesn't go away after you hit Apply, so you may have to close that manually. And there we go. There's our DATV demodulator. And you can see by default it is set to DVB-S, BPSK, 1/2, and 250,000 symbols is our symbol rate. We're going to leave most of this the same. However, you will see that I'm going to change our modulation scheme to QPSK, and that's because that is the default that the modulator uses on the transmit side. So we want to make sure that these settings match up so that we can actually demodulate our video signal once it's transmitting. And then finally, I do want to adjust our frequency here. We're going to tune it to 423 megahertz, and this is roughly one of the channelized areas in the 70 centimeter band for amateur television. Now that our receiver is set up, what we need to do is set up the transmitter, and since I'm doing this from the same computer, we can actually do it all within SDRAngel itself. Come to the Workspaces tab here, and we're just going to select New Workspace. And you'll see we now have Workspace 0, which has our receiver in it and everything that we've done so far. And we have Workspace 1, where we can start putting new things like the transmitting side of our demonstration here. So we're going to come up to the upper left-hand corner, and you'll see we have a button for Add Transmit Device. Go ahead and select that. And again, from our drop-down, we'll be selecting our hack RF this time. Go ahead and press OK. And you'll see we now have our device window and our FFT window, same as we did with a receive device. For the hack RF, we're going to leave all of these settings the same. The only thing I'm going to change here is we do want to make sure that we are on the correct frequency as our receiver, which is 423 megahertz. And before I hit play, we also want to go ahead and add another channel. So let's go ahead and add a channel for the hack RF. And from the drop-down box, we're going to select DATV modulator, and that'll be the modulator for digital amateur television. And you'll see we have a few options here. By default, everything is set up the way we want it. However, instead of using a file for the source, because I don't have an MPEG transport stream available as a file to transmit, we're going to use a UDP stream instead. And the great thing with this is we can actually use VLC to stream our webcam using a UDP stream alongside SDRAngel, so it works out really well. So let's go ahead and open up VLC, and I'll show you how we can connect the stream to our DATV modulator so that video is getting sent out in real time. So once we have VLC up and running, we're going to go ahead and click on Media and then down to the Stream option. And because I want to use my webcam as the capture device, we're going over to Capture Device, and from the drop down my integrated camera is going to be selected. And we're not going to use an audio device just because this is a demonstration and I don't want audio through this particular video feed anyway. So we'll select None, and then we'll press the Stream button. This first page we don't have to change anything. Go ahead and hit Next. And for new destination, we're going to actually select, instead of File, we want this to go to UDP Legacy, and we'll press the Add button. And now you'll see it wants to know the address and the port that we want to send this video signal to. And you'll see that we actually have a UDP host name here and port in SDRAngel itself. So we're going to use the same exact thing. So we're using the loopback or localhost IP address, which is 127.0.0.1. And then for our port, we're going to do the same port that we have in SDRAngel, which is 5004. And then we can press Next. We want to activate transcoding and make sure that the profile is set to MPEG-2 MPGA TS. And this is going to make sure that it's in the correct format for a DVBS stream. Press Next again. And then finally click on Stream All Elementary Streams and press the Stream button. You'll see that the timer is now running, and this means that our VLC media player is now streaming over to SDRAngel for us. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize VLC. And to begin transmission, we can go ahead and hit the play button on the HEC RF here. And you can see we are now transmitting our DVBS signal at 423 megahertz. And if we move back over to our receiver tab, you can see we have a nice constellation. It's perfectly on these 4 stars here. Everything seems to be working really well. And if we click on the video tab, you should be able to see video of me slowly talking into the camera. And you will notice that there is a little bit of a delay, and that is because we're transcoding with VLC. If you're using a transport stream that's generated, say maybe with FFmpeg, or if you're using something that's already in the native format, this is going to work a lot better. But for demonstration purposes, this works just the way we want it to. And yeah, I hope that this was helpful. It was a real quick and basic rundown of receiving and transmitting a digital amateur television through DVBS on SDRAngel. And I just wanted to kind of do this both to teach you guys, but also to reinforce my own kind of education on this, because SDRAngel has changed so much over the last 4 years. I really had to sit down and take a moment to relearn how to do this before I was able to present it to you. So I hope this was helpful and useful information. If you like content like this, please give me a like, a thumbs up, and yeah, throw me a comment in the video. Tell me what you liked about the video, tell me what you didn't like, what you'd like to see, and we'll go from there. But yeah, huge shout out to all of my subscribers and patrons. You guys keep me going, and at the end of the day, I wouldn't be here without you. So hugely appreciate it. And finally, if you're not a patron, you might be interested. We do plenty of behind-the-scenes content. We're going to try to start doing live streams soon. And then, of course, there is early content that you guys get prior to the release onto YouTube. So you get to watch that stuff before it even comes out, which is nice for everybody. So if you like that video, again, likes, thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll hit you guys up in the next one. Bye!